It's Thursday, May the 23rd, I believe, 2024. And I wanted to do a chilly teachable moment on our adoption journey. And it is a continuation of answering a question I had back in June of 2021. Last night, Jermaine and I were hugging. I mean, we're being affectionate. He was giving me a hug or kiss or whatever. And Chili is so attached to me that she is up under me all the time, to the point that sometimes I stumble over her because she has to be next to me all the time. But last night she sleeps in the bed with me as well, or she'll rest and nap in the bed with me most of the day, but sometimes she prefers being on the floor like now so she can play with her toys. But last night she growled and snapped at Jermaine, and that is an absolute no-no. It's a no-no for her to growl and snap at anybody, but especially Jermaine, because whenever she's so jealous that whenever anyone else is showing me affection, she has to, be right there to sort of regulate it, the level of affection that, anybody's able to receive from me at any given time. And that in and of itself is a good teachable moment for people who are overcoming relationship trauma, who have had problems with attachment, which is a normal human developmental process between a child and their parent, which helps sets the stage and the tone for how you navigate relationships as you continue to grow socially. So we had to nip this in the bud, and I have not confined her yet as a form of redirection or discipline. One, because we don't have a crate for her, but two, because it really hasn't been necessary. And I said to her, I'm going to lock you up. I said, I'm going to lock you up. You cannot do this. So I had to position myself in front of Jermaine and then put my arm around him. And together we had to redirect her so that she understood that we're the parents, and you cannot, get upset when we are sharing affection. You have to learn, Chili, that our entire family loves you. I'm not the only person in this house who wants to love you and wants to take care of you. I'm just a person who was able to bring you home and to help you to understand that this is a stable place for you to live, and that we're a family now, and that we're going to be together. But you have to start to trust and build relationships with everybody else in the house, because it'll feel a lot better. You'll get way more love, because sometimes I'm just like, Chili, get away from me. It's like I can't go to the bathroom. I can't take a shower. She wants to be up under me all the time. And that's okay. She hasn't even been here 2 full weeks. It'll be 2 full weeks tomorrow. And it's a process. It took 3 years to get Cece to the point where she lives here like this is her home. And Chili is really clear about that. She makes sure that she understands I'm the big sister here, and, I'm 13 years old and you're only 1, and I need you to get somewhere and sit down. And that is not how she was when she first got here. She was very squeamish, and she would startle very easily, but that's gone. She doesn't do that anymore. So it took a while for her to fully adjust to, this is my home, which is a firm position anyone should have about their home and their and everyone who dwells within it. So again, that brings me back to the issue with Chili right now, and her being able to gain a sense of family around everyone in her pack, which is, what we would be. Now, the reason why I want to use this as a teachable moment is because of this question I had in 2021 about social dominance, social dominance theory, because I want to know where it came from. And I'm like, because people who were explaining it to me helped me to understand that this was something that, people are using in social relationship or behavioral training to understand relationships between people. And, and then it got further into some more perverted fetish type stuff as, you know, I explored this conversation a little bit more. But I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, who in the hell thinks that this is a thing? And so I started journaling about it here. But the answer is that, again, it's these same people who have absolutely no social skills, who probably do enjoy having animals around but are horrible caregivers because they're too controlling, and who understand that these methods work with animals because animals, this is, you know, the earth is their domain. And so because they should be living, you call it wild, but they should be able to live and to help with the ecosystem of the earth and maintaining it. That's part of their natural gifting as animals. They are responsible for being stewards of the natural environment, and we are supposed to help them with that because we don't stay here. We evolve to a different experience of existence. So, you know, people who try to apply the same types of social bonding or communing that animals have to human beings makes no sense, because people understand that humans have a different level of cognizance than animals, and there's a reason for that is different. And you don't want to be like the animals. You want to be a human being who is taking control over your own social and emotional development so that you can commune with nature and use nature as an opportunity to learn more about yourself and how then to interact socially with other human beings who have the same level of cognizance and sentience as you, because it's different. Everything about us is socially, in terms of our evolution and our development, is going to be different than the animals. Now, there are some similarities. There are always things in nature that you can use to learn and to teach about human existence into eternity, because it's necessary. You have to have teaching tools. So there's always a parallel in nature somewhere that you can use to teach, but then you don't try to be like them. So anyway, so I put these textbooks here, one from ODU where I got my master's degree, and then the other one is the orientation book that Deja had when she was at Hampton University. And this idea of defining what excellence is and what being a leader is. And being a leader means I have a level of mastery in this particular area to get this particular thing done that no one else has. Everyone else has skills in this area, but everyone else, including me, has recognized that I have a level of mastery in this particular aspect of the project or whatever it is, that it would make sense for me to lead it because I understand what the goal is and what the outcome is we have all agreed upon. And to get that done, we have to do this, and I know how to do it better than anybody else. So with that in mind, let me read to you what I wrote back in 2021. Strength versus dominance, the alpha agreement. Before I start this, let me reiterate that I hate bullies. When a person seeks to control another person with fear, they are a bully, period. Fear of consequences is not bullying unless the consequences are set unjustly without the intent of discipline, which is correction, motivated by love and concern. The definition of dominant: having or exerting authority or influence over someone or something, or to be in control. And then 2, which is the definition I prefer in this case, which is to be more pervasive comparatively. Social dominance theory. And then this is my shock eyes little drawing, because you don't have emojis when you're writing. Who wrote this shit? And then, I heard bananas, which is significant, but I'm not going to decipher that for you. You look it up. All right, then. Well, let me completely derail this train and shift out of this thing completely. It's dead. I'm killing this shit right now. Assertive, the quality of being self-assured and confident without being aggressive. Better is the ability to articulate one's needs clearly and confidently without fear of retribution. Can you state your truth without shrinking back from it? if the person you seek to convey that truth to may not or does not agree. This requires courage, not dominance. Can you stand in your truth when you are confident your motivations are rooted in love and a desire to resolve conflict or to correct miscommunication? This requires courage, not dominance. Can you endure persecution, rejection, abandonment when your truth is not popular, but you are certain it is the right thing to do or say? Truth is always an absolute defense because it is the truth. It just is. If it's your truth and it's true to you, it's your truth. But sometimes people cannot see your truth the way you do because they have not had the same kinds of experiences you have or the same kind of interest, and therefore not have the same level of mastery that you do. But that does not mean that because they don't agree with your truth that it is not true. Now, there are some things that are just fact. Like there are only two genders, male or female. If you cannot stand in that truth with confidence and not shrink back from it, that's a problem. Which is what I say next. Okay. Strength is the ability to hold on to the truth without wavering because it is the truth, reality, authentic. If you can be convinced that what you are certain is true is false, you have been dominated. Let me be clear about people who are argumentative for the sake of argument. Convincing them is a waste of time. I love a hearty intellectual dialogue because it's good practice for decimating bullies, but I won't engage in an argument with someone or a debate with someone who cannot reason with me in a respectful way, nor thoughtfully consider my perspective before offering a counter perspective. Dominant people argue and fight. Strong people assert respectfully. I modulate the tone and intensity of my assertion at the level of the person who has challenged my truth. If you are loud and brash, I am likely to be loud and brash. But I will also be respectful. I will not seek to demean or demoralize you. I will not seek to demean or demoralize you. And I emphasize that because sometimes people believe what I'm saying is demeaning or demoralizing, but it isn't. It's my tone of voice. What I'm saying absolutely needs to be said. And that's important because if we do not have a relationship and you therefore do not trust that I have your best interests at heart, then you are in a situation where it is likely you will misinterpret what I'm saying because you aren't listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. You are attaching yourself and whatever it is you're thinking to making a defense against how I am speaking it to you. At home or with close family, it may sound one way to an outsider, but we know each other well enough to understand where the conversation is headed. In terms of relationship behavior, doesn't it make sense to meet a person where they are instead of deciding I need to claim a personality and have it represent how I interact with every person in every situation in every setting? Sounds robotic to me. You don't have to decide what you'll say, be, or do in a future situation. Trust yourself enough to know you'll know what to do when the person, situation, etc. presents itself. Listen, all of this predefining so you can offer up a label that describes the complete entirety of who you are as a person is ridiculous, crazy-making madness. I am different with all four of the people in my house. I can talk to one in this room, walk into another, talk to someone else, and sound completely different because of the way we relate to each other. How do you label that with all the people you encounter on a regular basis? It's a tool to force you to measure yourselves against some funky ass definition they've come up with. They have likely attached to some product or service or practice they want you to buy. I am not for sale. If you are not for sale, I'll tell you if I need something. Stop trying to sell me. Buy equals control. Use the word dominant to describe aesthetics like color, flavor, odor, not people. And then I go into this discussion about submission in marriage and my philosophy that if you don't have a mission we are both committed to, what am I submitting to? Which is the point I was making earlier about understanding your role in any situation, because let me go ahead and read this. It's a better perspective of what this means. I get that the word submit is problematic in 2021. So don't use it. The idea itself, though, is still valid. You are equals. And then I did do a thing on, I'll just show it to you because I'll not read it, and you can pause and read this thing. But this is me balancing the equation instead of doing dominance versus submission, how different aspects of men and women in marriage and in parenting relationships they balance each other, they mirror each other. I just did the complementary balance of strengths thing and then explain what we'll say yielding to the other is dependent upon the situation, stage in the building process, or life circumstance. It's less a bowing down and more you lead this part, what do you need me to do? And then I talk about one of the scenarios, which is driving, because I am a very good driver, and that which is a condition of having been community-based. I had to drive everywhere and drive people everywhere in order to accomplish the things I was able to accomplish with them. But when we are together, he prefers to drive, and I prefer for him to drive. And as a result, navigating where we're going could fall between either one of us. We haven't always had GPS, to use in order to make sure we've had directions when we travel. So, but he doesn't like it. You know what? Let me share this. He doesn't like it. Let me see. Okay, I don't know what page it's on. But anyway, somewhere within the same journal entry, I talk about how there was a time when I felt like Jermaine needed to understand better how to navigate the maze of mapping, because it would make it easier on us when we travel, because he likes to drive. And he whenever we go out of town, he always asks me to do it. Not to drive, but to navigate the route. And I do it because I'm better at it when we're in the city than he is. If I can see the map, the entire grid of the map, I can usually navigate a route if we get stuck because there's some kind of, construction or something in the way that we had not expected. But his reaction time when he is driving is much faster than mine. So especially in the city, if there like a child darts out in front of the car, or something is in the road that you don't notice until the last second, he is far superior in his driving ability to be able to navigate around it and not only protect us but also protect the vehicle and whatever it is that has become an obstruction. Can I do that? Yes, I can, but he is better at it than I am, and I don't mind him driving so that I don't have to worry about that. But when it comes to navigating directions and we're on the interstate, there's usually only one turn you're gonna make. Once we get to the off ramp, which is usually numbered, then I can jump in and then navigate the directions from there. So that's an example of how you work together using each other's strengths and weaknesses to guide how you decide you're going to navigate any situation, project, mutually shared adventure, or whatever have you. So I hope that this teachable moment that Chili has illuminated for us is helpful for someone, because in conclusion, Chili got in her feelings. I mean, she barked, and she was whining because both Jermaine and I were standing side by side with his arm around me and my arm around him, helping her to understand this is the situation here. And she got in her feelings, and she went, she left the bedroom and stayed out in the living room for a while she got herself together, which was fine because it was a better alternative to me locking her up, because she was biting and nipping and all that other kind of stuff before that. But she knows we aren't going anywhere. So if you need to take a minute to just get yourself together and to recalibrate after something like that, because you got to process through your trauma. And if you're not if you are not experiencing that trauma anymore, then you have to work through the reactions that you cultivated as you were being conditioned with the trauma. So if she needed a minute to go lay down in there and have a little attitude, that was fine with me. I felt bad while I was laying in the bed waiting for her because I'm so used to her being up under me, but I wasn't going to go in there and try to re-engage her, because that would have completely negated everything Jermaine and I had just done with her. But after she got herself together, she came back in and started jumping on the bed like she was like she usually does, and we were back. So I want you all to keep all of these things in mind, and the differences between the similarities, but also the differences between how human beings should be looking at, evaluating, and navigating their social relationships in an environment where we're overcoming some traumas but have not eliminated the cause of all of our traumas completely, which needs to happen. Have a nice day.